Alrighty, guys. Well, welcome to the Nerd Culture is Dead podcast. I'm your host and thoroughly a nerd, Zac. Today's topic is going to be Dungeons and Dragons Party Composition. And to further help me discuss this topic, I have a few guests today. Firstly, Jen from Nerd Culture is Dead.
Yeah?
You want to say hi?
You still don't know our name by now?
Nerd Culture is Jen.
Nerd Culture is Dead. Hi guys, I'm Jen.
We also have today Logan from Logan.
Hi.
And we have Jason from Atavar Roleplay.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get into D&D Party Composition. So, Jason, would you do me the honors of defining D&D Party Composition from your perspective?
Okay, so there's the traditional, having a party that is comprised of a variety of different skills and specialties. And that's kind of the traditional look at what's a party composition. How do we create a group where we can cover all our bases, where someone's got their own specialty, someone's got, their thing that they're great at, and they can just go ahead and do that and have no problems, as a group handling things. However, I don't think that needs to be the case at all.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh, Jason over here with a hot take to start us right off. So, for me, D&D Party Composition, more or less, is that it's a group of people who've come together to play a game of Dungeons & Dragons and are trying to form a cohesive unit, but cover each other's weaknesses. They allow each other to have fun by either playing off of each other or giving each other's characters opportunities to present themselves in the narrative in a meaningful way that everyone can come around to enjoy. And so, I want to hear what you had to say about that not necessarily being the case or being important here.
Well, I think with a less experienced group of players and less experienced DM, ideally, it's easiest for everyone if you kind of follow that traditional route of having, hey, what are you doing? I'm going to play a cleric so I can, heal people. I'm going to play a barbarian or a paladin or whatever so I can be a frontline fighter and tank, and I'm going to be that. I think for inexperienced groups, that's probably the easiest thing you can do
to play into the stereotypes.
To play into the stereotypes and make the game easier so you don't have to worry about things so much. But if you've got a good DM and you've got, a group that can handle it and think outside the box, I'll run a party that's, just a group of rogues. They could even be like the exact same build.
Well, I think to an extent that has its own fun from within it, for sure. And a lot of that comes into the role play aspect of it, as opposed to, alright, you fill role A, you fill role B.
Exactly.
And it's,
right.
alright, let's just go fuck shit up, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I heavily agree with that. Roleplay-wise, that's what kind of drives a group like that. Mm-hmm. But here's where I'd have to disagree with you, actually, Dad, is I think to have a group like that relies a lot more on the DM than you would give it credit for. Because the DM has to drive basically everyone to not make it feel monotonous, I guess, while they all do fill the same role. So it's possible, but...
Well, yes, but you misunderstood me. I did say a group of experienced players
That's fair.
that think outside the box. I also said an experienced DM.
Right.
I didn't elaborate on that, but yes, something like that where you have a monotonous, or I don't know what you say, clones of each other kind of characters. Mm-hmm. In that you do need an experienced DM and someone that can work within that to still provide fun challenges and also help the party to think outside the box and discover ways to overcome challenges that nobody in the group might have any skill at.
That's fair.
Like, no one has any way of detect magic, right?
Exactly.
Rogues. And I think that also heavily is derived from the setting of the campaign.
Yes.
Where, like, if we're playing in Baldur's Gate, having a group of 5 rogues would make sense, because they could, be working the underground, working through criminal connections and their infiltration. And that could be a whole campaign as they're trying to uncover the secrets of Baldur's Gate. And that's heavily derived from that. But if it was, alright, well, we're going to go out into the farmland and we're going to help with these owlbears, having a group of 5 rogues are going to feel a little out of place in that degree.
Right. But you can overcome that as well as in a group by the DM thinking ahead about the scenarios that they're putting forth and saying, okay,
Well,
they lack these skills. What ways could they still overcome this challenge? And then providing them opportunities to discover those ways or think of those ways.
so hear me out. Let's isolate this part real quick. So, while the Dungeon Master is important to the story and provides these opportunities to the players, ultimately it's the players who make these decisions about their characters and the way that everything is formulated. So let's isolate the Dungeon Master here. As far as party composition goes, typically through writing, the 5-man band is the most pressed example of this, where the 5-man band includes the hero character, the lancer, the smart guy, the big guy, and then the chick.
Believe it or not, that's somehow not Percy according to the definition.
No. Well, then I want to explore that, because I want to see how that...
Well, let's go ahead and talk about Atavar Ascension.
Let me guess.
Well, do you want to...
Let me guess. The bard.
Do you want to define them all first?
Yeah, so the hero, the leader of the group, can be clean-cut, understanding, bold and charismatic, serious and driven, or some combination of the 3 characteristics. I would probably say that's Gold.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's
got the serious, focused portion down.
I play my character more or less like Batman in the sense of how he's played. Then we have the Lancer, the second in command, usually a contrast to the hero. If the hero is clean-cut or uptight, the Lancer is a grizzled anti-hero or a deadpan snarker.
Persephone.
I'm sorry, what was this? I totally zoned out. What am I?
So, second in command and antithesis in character
guy.
to the hero.
And that's why I said Persephone, because Ajax I kind of lean towards that just because of the relationship.
Well, I think he's more the big guy, and we're going to get to that here in a second.
I just want to interrupt for 2 quick seconds. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about with these characters, you can hippity hop over to Jason's channel, which is
Totally Online Gaming Group on YouTube. Check it out.
We are recording Atavar Ascension, which is our D&D group, and we're talking about our D&D characters in there. Proceed.
Yes, well, which is, just to put in, which is currently on the YouTube channel in audio-only form, but we are upgrading the studio. It's getting there. Maybe another month and a half at most, and
as we speak, the studio has been transformed quite a bit.
We got a major upgrade just now.
We got lapel mics, bitch.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
let's go ahead and
just
continue down with some of the characteristics here.
Yeah.
So then you have the smart guy, the physically weak but intelligent or clever member, often nerdy and awkward place for comic relief, sometimes unconventionally young, sometimes a trickster, and a buddy to the big guy. Maybe the one with all the street connections.
See, now
he's the token intelligent character, which
it kind of sounds like Leon.
Maybe.
Then we have the big guy, the strong man of the team, maybe dumb or mute. Not a lot of things to go on there.
Yeah, that's Ajax.
Yeah.
And then the chick, a peacekeeping role to balance out the other members' aggression, bringing them to a nice or at least manageable medium. The chick is often considered the heart of the group, not always female, but the role is usually taken by a token girl, hence the name. Sometimes referred to as the useless girl.
And see, this is why I'm not the chick, because I said peacekeeper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're definitely not Percy.
Well, and here's where I'm thinking with this, right, is the 5-man band, when you play into stereotypes like this, it's great for writing.
Yeah.
But Dungeons and Dragons characters are filled with nuance because it's people playing and acting them.
Mm-hmm.
And, we may change how we think about something on the fly.
Yep.
So to shorten ourselves to just these roles, I think is a bit disingenuous, and we all share common traits, but what character's relationship to another character, I think, is where the 5-man band could be more heavily applied. Where, like, my character, for example, would see himself as the hero. He's the protagonist of the story from his own perspective.
Yeah.
And who would I think my Lancer is? Not Ajax. I actually think it'd be Leon in this case. Where whenever I need something done, you're my antithesis in thought, but you're also someone I can rely on to get the job done with me. Whereas Ajax, I would say, is the big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd probably say that Persephone is the smart one.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, Oscar.
Yeah.
but Tomer is the useless chick in my instance.
Yeah, and
here to defend
but at the same time, there are. If we go with that kind of analysis in this route with Gold as the leader, then I would say big guy roles, both Ajax and Tomer, share a little bit of that mentality. But as you said, there's nuances in how this all really plays out in a game. It's not like you have to stick directly to it, which is why I actually said that your Lancer, I thought, was Percy, because her thinking is clearly 100% opposite of yours. Mm-hmm. And while she is a little chaotic and a little bit evil-ish, yeah, but she also can, you know, when it comes down to, oh, we need to blow somebody up, yeah, she can dish out some damage.
Well, and here's kind of where my character gets thinking to agree with you to an extent, right? Mm-hmm. So, and this is where I think Tomer is more my foil than any other character in the campaign setting. Mm-hmm. Where when we were talking to the Boggle, it was just me and Tomer when we went back to the shipyard, and we knew about Percy's deal through inferences.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Inferencing.
Tomer wanted to abolish the deal altogether.
Yep.
Right, and he was taking action to do so, and I said, no. Percy did this for a reason. I trust Percy to do this.
I really don't know why, but
and so I told the Boggle, you know, don't take it so far, but continue doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And that led us to find out that route.
Yeah, I guess.
Which was a huge part in that campaign.
Which I gotta say is, that did open up a door that you might not have had otherwise. And, no spoilers, watch the episodes, you'll find out what we're talking about. Shameless plug, insert here.
I'd like to branch off for a second.
Absolutely not.
Well, okay, then.
Alright, I give thee permission. Branch.
I hastily take that permission from you. Going back to what you were saying earlier about the whole, it takes a very experienced group and experienced DM to be able to run a party with an unconventional composition, such as everyone being the same role, right? Mm-hmm. I think in story writing and in tabletop in general, yes. But we can all agree probably that that kind of group is motivated most by roleplay, correct? That kind of group where you have a sort of unconventional composition is, we can all agree, is mostly motivated by roleplay.
Yes,
right?
I would agree with that.
So a point I've been wanting to bring up is, at that point, it might not so much be about D&D composition, but just party composition in general, because I think if you are mostly motivated by roleplay, you're better off choosing a different kind of tabletop game, or just not specifically focusing on D&D, because I think mechanically D&D is a system where any kind of roleplay can be applied, but the actual aspects of the game are what make D&D D&D. So focusing on D&D party composition, I think, is easier to do in the lens of having a slightly more conventional party.
Mm-hmm. I just want to know how many times you said D&D in a 1 minute span.
D&D.
So that brings in actually another topic that I was going to go ahead and talk about within this discussion is the roleplay elements of the party composition and trying to fill yourself to a specific role in order to have a satisfying end. So to bring up Atavar Ascension again, because it's a very relevant discussion at the moment. My character isn't motivated by what like a typical D&D party would be, where my character is very, very calm, is more or less like an investigative role and playing like group dad at the moment. I'm actually, I don't know where the hell I was going with this. I'm just talking out my ass.
Is that not what we do for all these podcasts?
My character, the way I roleplay the character, I tend to enjoy more than like when I play a character who's, you know, like going out and trying to fuck everything at the table, right? Or it goes out and drinks every time. And I don't know. I like having a character that doesn't do those things, and having characters in the party who still do those things.
Yeah, see, because
motivates my character further, which adds to the roleplay element.
I like doing those things. Mm-hmm. I like being the chaotic neutral with a little asterisk right there, because, like, boundaries are fun. And
when you break them?
Very pliable.
Yeah, I would agree. And to say you were talking about kind of fitting into the roles and filling the roles, even though I brought up how unconventional roles can still work, unconventional parties, that doesn't mean that when I'm a player that I just go for whatever. I usually like to go, okay, what's everyone else playing?
Mm-hmm.
And where can I fit in
I can
as a
agree with
role? Just because I think that, and this is why I think it's easier to do this, is that for the DM especially, it allows them to build things in such a way that everyone, from a game mechanic standpoint,
Right.
can have their time in the sun. From a roleplay standpoint, you can do that with anything.
So that's the point I was trying to get at earlier. Essentially, is that I think for this specific game, leaning into the pre-established roles that it kind of assumes for you can sometimes lead to an easier time having fun. Although, of course, it's not the only way. That is my opinion.
Yeah. And regardless, I think it's no matter what you choose to do at your table, as long as your table's having fun.
That is the most
really
important
That's
thing.
we're at the end of the day, we are playing a game.
Yeah.
That actually does tie in as well as the whole point of, because it's a game, I think having a good variety is important because it's a game.
Yeah, exactly.
You get a lot more difference of opinion. So the paladin, for example, is not going to want to do the same things that, say, a wizard would want to go do.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll have the different paths you can go about it, where you can split the party, or, you can role play out the answer, as opposed to everyone does the same thing. They're like, all right, well, this is it. I don't know. It's a different role play aspect to it, I guess.
Yeah. I actually have no problem with people splitting the party.
I do it so much. I don't think I've ever had a game where we don't split the party at least
I
12
don't know.
times a day.
You used to.
I used to. Well, that's a totally different topic, and I think that's on the list of things to talk about at some point, is just DMing in general.
Yeah, a Dungeon Master experience can be its entire
Yeah.
series.
Oh boy, that'll be a discussion.
Yeah, but I really don't have a huge problem with the party splitting up. It makes more work for the DM, but at the same time, if you've got a table of good players, you all trust each other, you all, understand that, hey, look, we're not gonna stab each other in the back by running off, and we're all gonna make it work.
Well, I mean, and even if the narrative calls for it, where the solution is found by, like, if Golden Ajax have to go off and lead a company to handle off another orc invasion. That would make sense if the rest of the party doesn't feel that they need to do that because they know another world-ending threat is on the way.
Yeah.
And the party can end up splitting into two different things. If the narrative calls for it, it makes sense for the characters in roleplay to say, okay, well, we'll divide and conquer. We'll handle this problem while you guys handle the other.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like in I guess it would have been session 2, episode 2 or 3, when you guys were investigating over in the potential vampire situation.
The Baroness.
Yeah, the governess. You, Ajax, and Leon went ahead and investigated over near her estate, while Persephone and Tomer, they did some stuff in town. And we're, trying to look for criminal elements and stuff like that. That you guys did your own thing. But
like, you can work towards the same goal and
exactly
split the party just fine.
Exactly. And you're actually working towards each other's skills.
Yeah.
I think it can provide for very interesting roleplay interactions as well. If I may use an example from my own campaign.
Yeah.
When one of my players decided he would go off on his own behind the scenes and make a bit of a dirty deal with a potential villain, he was playing both sides, so that he always comes out on top. But with this villain, when he made a deal with them, it actually helped them defeat the villain in the end. So even though he was kind of working on the villain's side, he went off on his own and did this completely unprompted thing, and it created a really interesting part of the story, I think.
All right, what else you got?
Well, other than just typical roleplay elements, I also have a little piece in here for party banter. And this is something that I think can be separated from roleplay, where in the middle of battle or in the middle of us just doing character interactions, I know for a recording studio it's not necessarily the greatest thing, but when two players just go off and have like a little conversation with each other in character, those little moments I tend to absolutely love, and it's not super relevant to the party composition, but it helps further establish character roles within each other, where I can have a personal relationship with Persephone over a specific topic. Like, if I found out that she happened to also like card games in character, it'd be a way for us to have our own little niche thing to further develop the characters and roleplay.
That's not where I thought you were going with this. So
Yeah, me either on that one.
like, we did the whole kill count thing. That's
Yeah,
where I
that's-
thought you were
that's
going
what
I-
more for that. Was
Oh, that's also a prime
not personal
example.
relationships, but like, haha, let's make fun with each other. Like, you know, let's
That still
fuck
only
around
counts
and do
as
some
one.
bullshit, you know, like, and I definitely won that, by the way. I have the paper to prove it still.
Funny how you were the one who was recording the results.
Yeah.
Let's see, that's 1 for me, 1 for Ajax, 7 for me, 1 for Ajax. But you only killed 3. 7 for me.
Yeah, but it was a crit, so it counts as 10. So 1-hit crit.
Just wait until you get Fireball. The entire world is over once that happens.
Oh, good.
Yeah, villages are going to burn to the ground.
Mm.
Good thing she has shape water.
Oh no! My own fire is too effective.
DM, I have a question. Why is all the wood in this world fire resistant? I don't know.
It's all wet. It's just constantly rainy season. Alrighty. Well, the last thing that I have as far as a bullet point is IRL personalities and how those play into party composition. Where we can...
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I got something to say when you're done.
Oh, you go ahead.
So for me, I really like to play characters that I can't typically do in real life. That's why my favorite thing to play is Big Dumb Stupid. Because I, by nature, am not Big Dumb Stupid. So I like to do things that I don't normally do, and that's where I get my joy in. So I teeter on the edge of evil because in real life I don't get to do that kind of stuff. So I like to just see what I can do and get away with.
Yeah, you don't get to stab children in real life.
Yeah, no, they frown on that.
See, that's a terrible mindset. You can if you try.
You just gotta
The elementary
believe
school
in
is right down the
yourself.
road.
Right down there, you know?
Believe in yourself.
Just believe in yourself, man.
Exactly.
It's not a crime if you don't get caught.
That's precisely the point.
Man, I feel like I'm a rogue talking. That should be my next character. An amoral rogue.
Oh, I can
So-
never play a rogue.
So where were you going with the rest of what you were saying?
Well, how IRL personalities play into these sorts of things. So when shaping your character, a little bit of you is going to bleed into that character no matter what, simply by nature of being a role-playing game.
Oh, okay.
Well, unless you're purposely trying to play antithesis of yourself. But at the same time, I do agree. It's still you as a person. There's aspects of your personality.
Yeah,
excuse me,
like, well,
that are
we'll
gonna-
go ahead and bring up Tomer, for example.
Yes.
Right. Oscar is a very vivid and animated personality,
Mm-hmm.
and that bleeds into his character where, while he's trying to be the tough, grizzled, soft-spoken dude, he will often bleed into his character and will just start yelling and be animated and happy. Because he just can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, by nature, I'm usually pretty quiet. And so that ends up happening with my character, whereas I'm supposed to be the party leader. I'm supposed to tell us what to do.
Yeah, but you've adapted your character to that kind of quiet, analyzing, focused leader that speaks when they need to.
I'll have to talk
But
to you
doesn't
about
waste
changing my
words.
feet over that, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, we can discuss.
But that also kind of bleeds over with, like, Persephone, for example, where she'll want to try and take the character spotlight for a moment to try and do her own thing, where you were talking about how in one session you were going to take charge for a minute. And
Yeah, we had a thing where we were like, all right, Persephone, we'll have you lead this. You got good charisma. I walk in there. Tomer inserts himself in. Just I was like, oh no, it's fine. I'll just chill, whatever.
Right. Well, that's another thing to kind of go along with what you're saying. Like when I'm playing a character, like playing a big dumb stupid, I enjoy it, but at the same time, it's actually really hard for me to
not,
play the
like-
character like a complete moron because I've played so much D&D. I run games.
You've already thought of
I know the strategy. Yeah, I know the strategies, and when I'm seeing the rest of the party miss something obvious,
Yeah, like
I'm
when-
just chomping at the bit to be
Yeah, like when we're doing a puzzle and you're like, I know the answer to the puzzle,
but I'm dumb.
But Drogo don't know what the fuck
Yeah.
he's doing.
Well, and that I think that was a good example of like how you played your druid in my Monster Hunter campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Is you played a laid back character, but your character was wise and
Mhm.
smart, and that played very well with the rest of the people who weren't very experienced in D&D.
Yeah.
Like Brandon being the hero character was a real bad hero character.
Yeah. But he had fun with it, and I enjoyed Ernest. I thought he was a fun
Shot at
character.
Brandon.
I'm not taking a shot at Brandon.
It's
It
not
was
like
just
he
that his
listens to
character
the
wasn't
podcast.
well suited for the hero role.
No,
fair.
but it was a fun character.
Yeah, exactly. And it all played well. And that was a very fun and comedic campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's a Monster Hunter campaign, it's all big and flashy and everyone's OP
Fight
and it's great.
monster.
Yeah.
But that's all I have for bullet points. So what else do you guys have for party composition? Any thoughts? Any particular stories or favorite party comps that you guys have?
If you're not playing an all-human party, you're doing it wrong.
All variant human
All
fighter.
variant human fighter. I know that point I made earlier about having a good spread out party is important in my opinion because it lends to what the game system actually works with. But I take that all back. All variant human fighter.
Yeah, it's too OP. Everyone starts with a
It's
feat.
too OP and perfect. Just absolutely perfect.
It's a vanilla cupcake, right?
And
You
that's
cannot
the
go
best
wrong with having 5 vanilla cupcakes.
Exactly. Like if you throw in like a special ingredient, that
If someone
could
gives you a
succeed.
chocolate cupcake,
No, I'm
you're
sorry.
gonna eat the other
Sprinkles
4
on it.
vanilla first.
No, I'm sorry. My waistline is gonna argue with 5 vanilla cupcakes being not going wrong.
You can spread it out.
Oh, okay. So
One
will the
cupcake a
waistline.
day.
It'll spread out too. But no, I think as far as one of my favorite party compositions ever is actually one that played way back when in high school with my friends, with a buddy.
That was like millennia ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, back in like Alpha.
Yeah. But it was me and my friends who was playing AD&D, and we had a party composition that was all clerics.
Oh God.
And the thing is, I mean, just because we were all clerics didn't mean we all did the same thing.
Doesn't mean any of us took
Well,
a healing
I mean,
spell.
a 5e cleric's a prime example of
Yeah.
like having 40 different archetypes to
Yeah.
choose
Exactly.
With-
Now, there's not as much in AD&D
Yeah.
like that, but between personalities, some spell choices, and, as we got up in levels, there were some specializations here and there. We had the, quick, heal me! I'm not that kind of cleric, And, so we had different personalities. But it was so fun. And it was so OP. Because it was like, doesn't matter who goes down, we got someone to heal.
Alright,
think that
so
would
I'm going to
be-
go ahead and time it. My channel divinity goes off in 30 minutes. You go ahead and do yours in 15.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think that would be incredibly interesting, actually, because
A crusade, yeah.
well, a crusade, but also just how that is a point I think that is important to bring up. Some classes actually have way more diversity.
Mm-hmm.
Like clerics or warlocks, I think actually you could build an entire party that each
All
character
bard, yeah.
each character is like completely different. Save the
Mhm.
things, the base things that make you that class. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're a cleric, you can cast, healing word.
Yeah.
Well, most clerics can do that.
All I can say is 3.5 edition, prove me wrong, clerics are the most powerful class. Period.
I don't think I could.
Prove me wrong.
I think
Anybody.
You're right.
I don't know much, but Moon Druid.
That's
3.5.
Oh, okay, just kidding. Ha ha ha
you.
ha ha. Here I am knowing
Well,
things.
actually.
Actually. You know who else is actually?
That was awful.
That was. I love it.
Alright, boys. Are we,
Yeah, I think we're
Yeah.
good to go ahead and... Well, let's go ahead and go and do a conclusion here, right? We're going to do this like a high school paper. In conclusion.
In summary,
I'm sorry, I was supposed to do the high school papers.
So, D&D Party Composition is an important step in having a good Dungeons & Dragons experience, but ultimately, like all things in D&D, it's up to player agency to do your party composition the way that you want to have the fun the way you want. And so, with that, we're going to go ahead and bring the show to a close. Jason, got anything going on or any plugs you'd like to go ahead and do?
Sure, yes. You can catch the Atavar Ascension campaign so far in audio-only form on Totally Online Gaming Group YouTube channel, and hopefully here in about a month or so, We will be live streaming it with video and everything. So looking forward to that. As well as you can catch us on @Tog Roleplay on Instagram and on Twitter. And yeah, that's about it for now.
Alrighty, Logan, got any plugs or anything you'd like to plug in?
I'm not confident enough to put my plugs, so...
I will.
I'll put
I have
his
many.
plugs too. Once you're done.
I'll plug your
Let me plug these nuts.
Both Zach and myself are at Nerd Culture is Dead. We have Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We have a Discord server, and we're on Instagram. We do Wednesday nights. We stream with our buddy Jason. And we are doing our Divinity playthrough. That should be going up here on YouTube shortly. And we're going to be doing new episodes of that every Thursday. Our podcasts go up every Wednesday. So that's where I got.
Yeah, we got good content coming out. And, well...
real quick plug for Logan, since he's too shy to plug himself. Logan is an amazing artist.
That he is.
He has been doing some really cool character art for his campaign, and we're trying to keep pushing him to do more for Atavar Ascension.
Come on, shirt cocky!
Yeah, the shirt. We want that shirt.
Okay, I don't have anything to do
Well,
on Monday.
where
right?
do you post your stuff?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess here we go. So you can find me online pretty much anywhere. Cheddar Snot. I know it's a stupid name. Capital C HEDDARSNOT. So on Reddit, I post there sometimes. On DeviantArt, I post there as well. And I have a Twitter, but someone else somehow took my handle before I did. So it's actually SCheddarsNot on Twitter.
What a jerk.
Yeah.
What a jerk. Actually, I've seen their profile, and I don't know what they post. It's just a bunch of shitty memes, so I'm just like, you usurper! So, I mean, yeah, I post online a little bit. Trying to do better.
Right, yeah,
Well,
check him out.
every day, that's the way it works.
Yep.
Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Nerd Culture's Dead podcast. I'm your host once again, Zac. Go ahead and play Variant Human Fighter, and have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Night.
Bye.